What's up? You checking out the Frequent Flyer, and today we're going to talk about this Snaptain SP660 a little. I guess you can call this a quick review. Now, this model was sent in to me without me asking for it. They did give me a choice of a few models to pick for review, and usually I don't pick the larger mini sized quads. Usually I go with the micros, and my reason is I kind of got sick of having all of these mini quads come out with altitude hold, and I'm not really that fond of camera quads, so I usually turn down these larger ones. And I told them I didn't want this one. I told them that I wanted these little micros, and they ended up sending me this one anyway. I can't remember if it's this one or the Snaptain S5C that showed up first, but I know this one I didn't ask for, but it arrived anyhow, and I was thinking that it looked pretty nice. I was actually enticed to do a night flight with this one because of the nice lights that it had on it, and to my surprise, this thing flew quite well for a quad that has altitude hold. And so I held on to it, but I never really intended to do a review on it until I decided to fly this thing again because I had fun on the night flight with it. And this thing is a beast. I really had a lot of fun the first time I flew it at night. I had a little more fun when I flew it again. But the thing was, when I flew it that first night, this thing had a very, very long flight time. And that was because of this battery here, I'm pretty sure of. The battery is huge. That was one of the first things that I noticed. The first thing I noticed about this quad were these little lights here when I turned them on. And that was something that I liked. I liked the color of it. The transmitter is pretty nice. And the battery is quite large. So this battery here is a 2000 milliamp hour battery. Yet it's not really that heavy. It's a little thick though. Check it out. And so this battery, it came with two of them. And so pretty long flight times. I was pretty sure that I was going to get a very long flight time with it. And I actually never got to fly this thing until LVC. The few times that I have flown it before the last time I flew it recently, it was just outlasting my patience for flying it. You know, I would fly it so long that I would get tired of flying it and just land it because the battery, it just gave it that much flight time. And so upon giving it that long flight time, I was determined the last flight video to find out exactly how many minutes of flight I get with this thing. And I decided to keep it in my collection because of how nice it flies. Now, it's not the best flyer that I have by far. None of my altitude hold flyers can even hold a candle to the ones that don't have altitude hold. But I must say I do have a few quads with altitude hold in this mini size that I actually like. They fly not too bad. They're actually not too shabby when it comes to maneuverability and all of that stuff for a quad with altitude hold. And I just find myself having fun with them. And so I decided that I'm going to start reviewing them. It has a camera on it, actually. The camera isn't the best camera. It's okay. Actually, in my opinion, none of these little pinhole cameras are worth getting any video footage or photos that you're going to use for anything. And so I try to steer clear of these camera birds as well. So you guys can imagine that when I got this thing, it just had everything going against it. We had this self-centering on the throttle stick that I noticed. And then we had this camera on it. And so I just didn't really think that I was going to like this one. Now, the transmitter is actually a pretty nice transmitter. It's a little dusty and all. It's been around. Now, this transmitter, it has this thing here to hold the phone. So it's a Wi-Fi model. Another negative in my book, I really don't like Wi-Fi models that has cameras. I really don't like Wi-Fi FPV. The Wi-Fi tends to interfere with the control because they're both 2.4 gigahertz. But anyhow, that's for another video. But this thing has altitude hold, but the sticks are pretty nice. I think this is metal here on the sticks and all. Not real gimbals and all, but they're not bad. And it doesn't have a removable battery on it. It has these nice little grip pads back here on it. They feel nice to the touch. And it's a charge port right here. So if you can see that, micro USB, 5 volts. So you can just use your phone charger to plug into this thing and charge it up. And it has a little light behind the speaker here. And so you hold this button here to turn it on. You see the light in the back flashing there. It goes solid once you bind to the quad. And it has this here for the speeds. This button, this little roller here is fake. On both sides it has rollers that are fake. Now this here is the flip button. And down here we have a camera button. So you can control the camera and all from the transmitter here. We have takeoff and landing there. We have, I think this is return to home. This is headless mode here. The on and off power button there. And we even have a lanyard little hole there. So pretty awesome. Not bad at all. It has this little grip here. It stands up. That's what I had it balancing on, to stand up. But let's look at the quad. The quad actually has this pretty large battery bay here. And here's the second battery. It comes with 2 of them. I think I already mentioned. And it locks in place like that. We have a little spot for an SD card there. So you can record onboard footage, or you can record directly to the phone, and then you don't have to worry about uploading the video from the SD card to the phone or the computer or whatever. And I'm not sure if the SD card video is better than the phone streaming video. Not really sure. I imagine it might be. Sometimes it do end up being better, but I didn't test that. I only tested the phone video. Sorry about that, guys, but camera video in these little quads are just not my thing. But it has a pretty decent pitch on it, so it can fly fast. The yaw rate isn't fast. The yaw rate is kind of slow, but it has really nice lights on it. And wait, let me see if I can show you guys the lights here. So we have green in the rear and red in the front though. So it does have these little soft landings on here. I lost one of them. So be careful if you decide to get this thing. You can lose these little soft landing feet that's on the bottom. And my kids are up there having a ball. And so a pretty decent flyer. You can get some sporty flying off with it. It does come with some extra props there. I never opened this package. You get the screws in the inside there. We have 2 USB chargers for the batteries. They give you 2 of them since you have 2 batteries, so you can charge them both at once. It came with prop guards. You guys know I usually remove the prop guards. And that's just about it. This thing is a pretty long flyer. Let me show you guys the weight of it. Let's get a quick weight on the battery. So it's zeroed out. One of the batteries weigh 51 grams, 51.8 to be exact. And this is with the quad. Let's see, how am I going to sit this on here? Or is it going to balance up there? It doesn't balance up there. I have to do a tear. Let me drop one of these on here. And do a tear. Okay, so let's see. There we go. So there's a battery inside there right now. And so it's weighing in at 132.2 grams. Let me slide it back. Maybe you guys can see it. 132.2 grams. So that's with the battery inside and all. So let me show you guys the battery again. 51.7 grams is coming up as for this battery here. And so Not bad at all as a flyer, a sport flyer. I really don't use the camera, but I do have some footage to show you guys. As you can see, the camera isn't all that great. I'm indoors, but it's pretty nice lighting. And I have some footage of this here, this little area here that I'm going to show you right after this. But I just thought I'd show you guys how the camera quality is. Looking at a piece of my collection here, some of my hexes there and some of my Star Wars things. Pretty awesome flyer, even though it has altitude hold. I wouldn't fly it in any high wind or anything like that, although it can fight some wind. It sometimes seems as if it doesn't want to descend when you're flying it fast in high wind and stuff like that. Now, I never felt like it was about to fly away on me or anything like that. And it has great range, it seems. But just keep in mind that this thing does have altitude hold. And in my opinion, altitude hold quads and wind are just flyaways waiting to happen. Because instances like when you fly it too far out of range because the wind, it can't fight the wind and you have it too far away from yourself, and then it blows you out of connection range and altitude hold is on, still working, your bird is just going to sail away into the wind, and altitude hold is going to keep working, and it's going to eventually get too far away where you might just lose it. Definitely say take caution with this or any other quad with altitude hold when you're flying it outdoors in wind. Thanks for watching.